What's up, guys?
Hey
Back
guys.
again.
What's up? Today we're gonna do a reaction video to Krystal and Saagar and how they grill Senator. I forget what's her name. I haven't seen the video, but I'm pretty sure she's a senator from Michigan,
Okay.
and I think she was like a House representative before,
Okay.
and so they're basically gonna grill her. I saw it briefly, clips. So let's get into it.
Elissa Slotnik of Michigan Center. Thank you very much for joining us. We
Thanks
appreciate
for having me.
We have a very limited amount of time. This is the internet, so you're here, and it's important that we ask some of the questions that are animating some of the younger voters and others. I assume that's part of the reason that you're here. The first is about Jeffrey Epstein. It's a story that's really captured a lot of America's interest. So you're a former CIA officer. Do you think that Jeffrey Epstein had any connections to U.S. or Israeli intelligence agencies?
So, not that I've ever seen or heard, but there's No, I haven't asked. But this is like a solvable question because President Trump's CIA director, John Radcliffe, can answer this question, right? There is no shortage of people in this administration who can answer that question.
Wait, so her logic is because there's a CIA director who can answer this question, she thinks he's going to answer it honestly, even if it implicates like several people of power. That's such a that's the politically correct answer, right? But
Yeah.
that's such a runaway from actually answering that question.
She's avoided responsibility, and the fact that she says she didn't ask, I think that just shows that she doesn't want to know or care to know.
Yeah, or maybe she shouldn't know, right?
Yeah.
She shouldn't know, because if she does know, then it makes it worse for her.
I would be very surprised. I'm going to be honest. I know your views on it. I would be surprised.
Okay.
But I'm like a Middle East analyst. I was doing my time going after terrorist groups and militias in Iraq. And so I never saw it. I never heard anything about that. I, again, would be surprised, but there's an easy way.
Then what about the moment when you actually realize that you're not here by accident?
Spread the word, spread the gospel, snatch people out of the fire.
Your enemy is not a
fire.
To solve that problem.
Well, that's the question then. So in terms of, because I know you've expressed some concern about classified information, et cetera, in the past, would you be fine then with the full release of these Trump Epstein files, even if they did reveal an intelligence connection?
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point, it's such a distraction from, in my mind, what I really care about, which is helping people live well in Michigan. Just get it over with and get it out. And this wasn't my issue. It's still not the thing that wakes me up in the morning and I want to work on. But I think it's okay to say it's a full distraction now in Washington. Everyone's talking about it. So just unveil it, do it.
Okay, that's such a Okay, that's such an unadvantageous way to take control of the situation because for years they've been trying to hit Trump from every angle. They try to use reasoning, right? He's a criminal. They try to say he sexually abuses people. They try to say he's a cheater and he rigged the election. They try to say he's a con man and he con people out of their university by creating fake university. He doesn't pay workers their actual wages. There's so many things. There's literally a list of things that you can go down that they've attacked him with, and none of it has worked on MAGA. They've all been pretty ineffective. And now you have the one thing, for some reason, I get it why, because it's a big fucking deal, right?
Yeah.
You have the one thing that actually effectively deters MAGA from him, which is the Epstein list, and you're just I want to get it over with. No, fucking stick it to him where it hurts. He's wounded right now. Keep wounding him, even if it's stupid. I get you're trying to have integrity. You're trying to say there's bigger issues that we need to deal with. They're not playing politics in a nice way. They're playing dirty politics. They've been playing dirty politics. So play it back. Attack them where it hurts. Keep, trying to spread the Epstein thing because it's clearly working.
It's working for sure. I don't know how much she knows about it, but I think ultimately the problem is on both sides of the aisle. Everybody's going to get affected by this. Not just Trump, but we don't know how many Democrats that are involved, current or former. This list could be a litany of people that could really shape the way we look at all the politicians that have come through, present and past. And I think that's what's ultimately that's why everybody's kind of pumping the brakes on it, even the Dems.
Yeah, that's true. And I don't think she's implicated in any way, and I'm not implying that.
No.
But I definitely think some of her colleagues that she knows are implicated, or she knows for sure. The only guy I can for sure safely assume is on the list is Bill Clinton.
Yeah.
Like Bill Clinton and Trump, like I'm pretty sure both of them are on the list, or visited the island, or did some shady stuff with him on the airplane. That's the only ones.
Yeah. Let's keep watching.
Whatever you need to do, answer the questions and move past
Well,
it.
that's the last question then. So there's some accusations here from the Republicans on Epstein here, just about, why didn't you care for over 4 years? I know you asked the question in 2020. You said, I don't care particularly about Bill Clinton, etc. I mean, that's somewhat understandable, but, we do have a person, very specific circumstances, let alone, the sex trafficking organization and others. So, why don't you answer that question? Like, why is this now is the time that you do care?
Yeah,
You just not
obviously,
particularly care.
It's horrible when you have a pedophile and someone who had a literal pyramid scheme of recruiting 14 and 15-year-old girls for illegal sex. I mean, it's horrible. At the time, I sort of saw it as like one of these horrible stories that comes out every 5 months, about somebody. I think the Weinstein thing had happened. There weren't Michiganders, to my knowledge, who were involved, women, young girls who were involved. So I kind of saw it as like a horrible moment, but not particularly something that's like going to decide whether someone in my state can buy a house or get a good job. So to me, it was just like it wasn't like a strategic issue, right, for me. And then now it just is like grown. And I think there is a difference between saying some rich guy or a former politician was named in those things versus the president of the United States. That to me is apples to oranges, because one of them is leading the free world and one of them's not. So if his name is in there as it appears it is, just like deal with it and let's get on with it at this point. And my 10-year-old nephew understands that the president is trying to dodge, trying to distract, trying to talk about other things. He hates answering this question. Like, we get it. So it feels off to the average person, right? To a 10-year-old, they're like, did he do something, right? So just get through it, get it out, and let's move on to for me, like real economic issues.
So then if pieces of legislation...
Okay, I kind of agree with her on that. I get it, like it doesn't affect your state, so it doesn't really directly affect you, but it's still like a big topic issue. But like also like, it's not just like, okay, he's on the list, let's get it over with and let's move on. That's not how it would end. Like if he's on the list, then he should more definitely like be tried, like be impeached more than likely. Like you can't just move on from that. It's not that simple. It's like there needs to be consequences for his action, for either helping or knowing about it and not reporting it. Like there's so many like crimes going on there.
For sure. I think it wouldn't just be something that we could just drop as soon as he knows. I mean, any allegation that comes out and turns out to be true, there's always an aftermath for it. And everybody's vying to know. Even, I guess, her 10-year-old nephew. At 10 years old, I was watching KSI and Niga Higa videos. What kind of content is this guy consuming? But, I mean, everybody knows from every age group, it's just something's up.
Yeah, that's kind of funny that she had to mention that, though.
Yeah.
It's like, why are you showing your kid? Does he even know what the Epstein files are?
I don't know. That's what I'm concerned about.
Like, whatever. I mean, it's okay. Like, you can teach your kids whatever. It's probably better that they know how the real world works.
Gen Alpha just built different, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, dude. I mean, really, they've seen all like the worst times of America.
Yeah, they have.
Legislation comes forward, you would vote for it to support the release of the files. Sure. Okay, all right. So then let's talk about future of the Democratic Party. I know that's something you've been interested in. Democratic approval hit an all-time low from the Wall Street Journal. At the same time, we've seen the rise more recently of anti-establishment candidates, people like Zoran Mamdani. Give us some of your thoughts there about the future of the Democratic Party, and particularly in the context of Mamdani's victory in New York City.
Well, I guess as a good Midwesterner and Michigander, I'm never going to say that what happens in New York City represents all of America. Sorry, we're a big country. And I would never pretend to totally understand New York City politics. I didn't particularly understand Eric Adams. I didn't particularly understand, I genuinely, right? Sure. But I think the message and the hot take out of that election is actually not terribly dissimilar from what we heard in the November election when Trump won, right? Which is people are still focused on the cost of living and not being able to achieve what they thought they could achieve, right? And then number two, people are looking for a new generation of leadership. I don't think it's hard to miss those hot takes. I can have plenty of disagreements with what I've heard Mr. Mamdani propose, and I do. But that message coming out of that election...
What do you disagree with?
Just, my family was a fourth generation hot dog business. Like, I am here because we live the American dream through capitalism.
Okay.
And so, like, a lot of free stuff, to me, is not the answer. I don't think it's sustainable. I don't think that it actually fixes the underlying problem. But I can have those disagreements. I think this is I would be thrilled to have that conversation with him or anyone else about like, hey, we agree that there's an economic problem here. What we do to solve it, let's have that debate. And adults can debate and not like want to kill each other's children.
Well, let's talk then about leadership.
That's such a weird thing to say at the end.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Why would she say that?
I don't know. She's obviously feel a little off kilter by Saagar's questioning. He's definitely like trying to be on the offensive.
Okay, yeah. Is she like implying that Mamdani kills people's children? Like, that's why I wanna like. That's such a weird. That's not an expression. At least not what I've heard.
No, and I don't think Cuomo and Mamdani have gone at it in debates talking about child murders.
She's just getting ready for him to talk about Israel. That's why.
Yeah,
it's on her mind.
I think so.
She's like, fuck. I shouldn't have agreed to this interview.
Yeah, who would have known? She's a fourth generation glizzy seller too.
Bro, that's. It's like, okay, we sold hot dogs for like, I don't know, 40 years or whatever generation is. And we made it, so why can't everyone else make it, right? Like, that's the logic that's being applied here, but she doesn't realize that it's just because, first of all, the cost of living is ridiculous in New York. Like, you've seen, like, we've all seen those videos where, like, they have, like, a one closet apartment with just, like, a toilet and, like, maybe, like, a little space for a bed. And it's like $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
It's like, that's ridiculous. That's so crazy. And so, like, for there to be rent freezes and for him to promise, like, free transport or to improve the transportation and to, like, increase wages, that's really not that ridiculous. And also, dude, she's a politician and she's like, oh, what I've heard. Like, what do you mean what you've heard? Like, you've never read it? You're just going based off hearsay? Like, oh, I saw a post on Facebook that he's a socialist. Like, you didn't think about fact checking it. You didn't think about like going and actually doing research. Like, you're a United States senator. I don't know. I just think she's a little weird. She's a little off to me.
She is off. She's obviously not well informed about Zorhan, and I think I can see from a standpoint where she was coming from how we can sit down and have an adult conversation, but also come right to the table. I mean. I get it. Capitalism was how your family made it in America, but at the same time, I don't necessarily think that we're gonna go full on socialistic policies if Zoran gets through. I think, and what he's proposing is just raising the corporate tax by a couple percentages, and of course there's the scandal like he wants to tax rich white neighborhoods. It's not necessarily like this. That was the study he pointed towards. It's not necessarily he's trying to target a social class, especially a race class. It's just particularly where he wants to target are certain areas where it's predominantly white. I mean, I don't know about whoever's watching this on the other end, but I think we can all try and see that whoever is in the top earners bracket may need to start really paying their share in taxes, because especially in some places like New York, it's really starting to become damning the wealth inequality.
Yeah, and I think that's just kind of how like they reframed it. I don't think he ever has said we're going to tax rich white neighborhoods. I don't think he's ever said. I think that would be a losing strategy. But
yeah.
I think that's how people reframe it. That way, it makes his policies look bad. And also, like, okay, yeah, fair play. Like, I'm not, trying to grill her too much. Like, whatever. That's just her experience. That's how she's grown up. I don't think she's a bad person, but like, she has to understand that her generation, like her family's business, like evolved in a different era of capitalism. Capitalism, like however long, like 40, 50 years ago, is not the same capitalism that it is today. Now it's like way skewed to favor like the top 1%, and that's that's not good for capitalism. Like, if you really like capitalism, if you really believe in capitalism, that's not good for capitalism at all. All right, let's keep watching.
Talked about that. We see a lot of that from our show. Some of the Democratic side of our audience is furious with Democratic leadership. I mean, do you still support Chuck Schumer's leadership here? He doesn't get an interview in about a month.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, I mean, I've now served in the Senate for 6 months, in the House before that. Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries have hard jobs. Like herding cats, it's not fun. I've said for a very long time, long before I got into the Senate and long before President Biden dropped out, that we need a new generation of leadership. You can feel it in, and I think at this point, I mean, especially New York, right? You're looking at New York, it's like, I'd rather roll the dice with someone new than have like the warmed over leftovers that I've already known. So I think we have a problem with that across the board. And I think one of the things I can do as the youngest Democratic woman in the Senate, and, you know, I'm not young, I'm just young for the Senate, to be clear.
You're young for us.
Yeah. I mean, is...
It's never been easier to start a podcast than with Riverside. Here's how it works. First, go to riverside.fm and open an account.
Push.
Yeah. You want to switch real quick?
I mean, we can switch.
Yeah, just copy the URL.
Yeah.
We'll just cut this part out.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. All right.
Hey, do you have Brave or not? You can always just watch it on Brave, too. If you just
Brave? No, I don't.
Oh, okay.
Just trying to remember which.
Yeah, if you need grab phone, you can always just pause the video and just like stitch them too. So you have to cut this part out anyway.
You cannot recover your account at the time Google doesn't have enough info. What the fuck are you talking about? Let me go over to. I can.
Your password, Jay?
I don't know what the fuck it was doing.
Barcelona.
I like how the stupid ass Barca fans try to make this Barca, even though it makes no sense. Barcelona, like, it makes way more sense.
Oh, that's funny that you thought about that.
The warmed over leftovers that...
The name of Barcelona triggered you.
That's how probably like racism works, dude.
Joining us now, Senator.
Nationalism.
Yeah. It's definitely tribalistic at the very least.
I don't know where we're
capitalism.
Okay.
And so,
Capitalism.
like the warmed over leftovers that I've already known.
I like
So I think we have a problem with that
expression
across the board. And I think one of the things I can do as the
She is
youngest
very
Democratic
Midwesty.
woman in the Senate, and, you know, I'm not young, I'm just young for the Senate, to be clear.
You're young for us.
Yeah. I mean, is push on that and try to give younger leaders a voice in this party in a very real way.
Yeah.
And to me, that's upward pressure. That pressure that you're talking about from the people is good.
So then shouldn't they endorse him? I mean, what kind of a message Schumer and Jeffries, shouldn't they endorse?
They're both from New York.
Johnny,
Yes.
they're
Yeah.
both New Yorkers.
Yeah.
And what kind of a message does it send if, like, I mean, this guy won the Democratic primary.
Yeah.
He is the Democratic nominee.
Yeah.
It was overwhelming. If then the centrist leadership of the party said, we can't get behind him.
I mean, you just asked me before we started the exact same question about the Michigan Senate primary, and I'm like, Michigan Democrats don't get involved in primaries. We all are friends. So I can't speak to what they're doing. I think, I hope that they're meeting. I mean, if this person is...
They did.
Yeah, okay.
And
I'm sorry.
Hakeem Jeffries still refused to endorse him. I mean, think about it from this context. Like, let's say in 2028, a more moderate figure wins the Democratic primary.
Yeah.
And a bunch of progressives, AOC or whoever says, we're not backing, we don't agree with you.
Yeah.
I feel like you would have a problem with that.
Yeah, I mean, I think I will say this. The way that this party works is when there's a coalition that sticks together. That's like a numbers issue. That's a data issue. And so I'm always going to be someone who's trying to find unity. That doesn't mean we all agree with each other. And I think I wasn't in the conversations where they met privately. What they debated, what they talked about, I don't know. But to me, we got to figure out what's common among all Democrats right now. And that's why I focus on the economy, because that is, to me, the cost of living and people not being able to achieve what their parents achieved is the existential issue of our time, is the unifying issue of like all the right wing, left wing, like Americans. I don't even think it's a Democratic Party thing. And to me, that's where I spend my time, because I think 80% of my constituents in Michigan, that's where they live, is like, I just want to be able to go to Disneyland and take my kids the way my dad took me. So that's where I focus on. I'm happy to sit down with any leader. I can't speak to their particular decision to endorse or not.
But,
I'm not endorsing in my own
Right, but
primary.
just, yeah.
Okay, so like, I actually agree with all of what she said. That was actually a really reasonable take. And she's just not trying to put her feet somewhere they don't belong, right? Like, why would she touch up on that? Like, she's just going to start shit, like they're going to quote her or something. I get it. It's really none of her business. It's a New York thing.
It is. And she's got a very young career so far. I think she just is trying to look out for her voters, which is, I mean, kind of what every politician should do, but it's obviously something that doesn't always happen. And it's kind of refreshing to see that she is at least sticking towards that ideal.
Yeah, looks like she actually cares about her voters, and all the other stuff is just like, why do I need to actually pay attention to that? I mean, I get it. I can respect that.
This is the last question on the
he won the primary.
Right, that's my question.
That's what's different.
in
By
your-
12,
I'm
why
sorry to
12
ask
points.
this. They have another election, though, yeah?
A general election.
general
Yeah.
election.
He is
But
the
it's-
Democratic nominee.
I see. I'm sorry. This is
Okay.
why I'm saying I don't
Yeah.
follow New York
No.
politics. And
I mean, that's fine with her,
I
right?
think
It's not her city. Why would she? Probably
you'd have
has-
to ask
she's probably
them.
really busy at
I don't
something.
know. I know that for me, whoever wins the Democratic primary in the state of Michigan for the Senate seat that's up, that's who I will endorse, regardless of who it is.
All right, that was my last question.
Yeah.
So I'm going to turn it to Krystal now.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess I'm actually a little curious, and forgive me if this is impolite. Like, I'm curious why you wanted to talk to us.
What do you mean?
Well, like,
Yeah.
we don't have actually a lot of senators, especially ones who have very different ideology than us, reach out. So I'm curious what your goal was and why you thought to come here.
Well, first of all, I think you have a good audience. I mean, right? If
We
you,
agree.
If you
Yeah.
spoke to, if you appealed to like 4 friends on YouTube or whatever, then I probably wouldn't be here. But I think, to me, part of the problem is that people have kind of gone to their corners. And I live this, right? I live on my family farm in a town that voted heavily for Donald Trump. I've never won my town. I've never won my precinct. I've never won my neighbors. We get along, but I never won them, and I probably never will. So to me, I think that the people have gone to their corners, and like people who used to be able to talk about politics and disagree don't even get in the same room together. So I kind of like the idea of your show. Like, it was interesting to me when my team pitched me, right? We go through, and like, there's no hiding it. Lots of people are like, how do we evolve in this new space?
Yeah.
You know, like that's not you know, it's not that conversation isn't happening. It is. And I think that's good. And to the credit of lots of shows like yours.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But I think your show appealed to me as I was being pitched because you guys don't agree. And like, I am very focused. My dad was a lifelong Republican, my mom a lifelong Democrat. Like, Michiganders want to get back to a place where we can disagree on politics and not have it be so like bitter.
So I hear you on the idea of like you want to talk about the economics and the unifying and cost of living. And I think that ignores a big elephant in the room, especially when you're talking about even Zoran Mamdani. The reason Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer don't want to endorse him is because of his position on Israel. The single most viral clip that he had in that election actually wasn't about cost of living, even though that's what he wanted to make his campaign about. His opponents, Andrew Cuomo in particular, wanted to make it all about accusing him of anti-Semitism and attacking him for his views on Israel and Palestine. So the most viral moment from that entire campaign, I believe, was this moment on the debate stage. Guys, this is E1. Let me go ahead and play this for you, and then I want to get your reaction.
Before she plays that, Okay, I'm kind of like, I don't understand this part, right? Like, you're having like the senator on for the first time, and you're not asking her any questions about like her state and what she's doing. You're not trying to get to know her at all. Like, you're just like going into her about things that, I mean, to be fair, like the whole Epstein thing does kind of like relate to her because it's her job and she'll eventually get to vote on that if they ever allow it to be voted on. The whole Zoran Mamdani thing, I get it. Like, you can brush over it, right? Like, what do you think about it? But like, we're halfway through this interview now, or almost halfway through, and I still don't know who she is. I still don't know what her policies are. I still don't know like what she represents. Like, I feel like that's what you would want as like an interviewer, especially for like a politics show. You want to get to know him, but from the start, like, Saagar just seemed a little mad. It just seemed a little bit like pressing for no reason. Mm-hmm. And then Krystal kind of asked her that question, which, I mean, it did sound impolite. Why'd you want to come on here? Like, what the fuck? Like, because like you're a political, like, I understand you want to know the reasons, like the underlying reasons behind it, but like there's a better way to ask that. Like, obviously she's just trying to market herself, trying to become more popular. Maybe she wants to run for president one day. I don't know. Just their whole style is just really weird.
It is. I think they're just hitting on like the hot button things that their audience really wants to talk about right now. Everybody wants to talk about these things. I mean,
this is how you not get senators to come on your show.
I was about to say, like, she probably won't come on the show ever again because she feels cornered, and I mean, I don't know anything about her. I don't know any of her policies. She's a Democratic senator. That's all I know, and she seems like a very reasonable, decent person. Honestly.
Based on the way she's answering, yeah, she seems pretty honest.
She seems pretty genuine, and I think like what she's trying to do when she's trying to avoid everybody going to their corners and not having so much visceral like hate for each other when we're trying to have an open conversation. Saagar and Krystal are kind of doing the thing where this is how you start resentment towards each other. Is like you don't even try and see each other's perspectives or try to get to know each other through their experience as a person. You're just kind of trying to hit on the things and the perspectives and the takes that you already have. And you want to see, do you agree with me? Do you don't agree? Pick a side.
Yeah, I think that's a bad way to interview people, to be honest.
It is.
I mean, even like, we watch the Young Turks, and even when Cenk has someone on, like, yeah, he'll press them on the questions, but like he'll also have like fun with them and talk about like more like light stuff with them, and I think that's what makes him a good interviewer. Same thing with Anna. So I don't know. We'll see how the rest of this goes.
Yeah.
Mr. Mamdani.
I would stay in New York City. My plans are to address New Yorkers across the 5 boroughs and focus on that.
Mr. Mamdani, can I just jump in? Would you visit Israel as mayor?
I will be doing, as the mayor, I'll be standing up for Jewish New Yorkers, and I'll be meeting them wherever they are across the 5 boroughs, whether that's in their synagogues and temples or at their homes or at the subway platform, because ultimately we need to focus on delivering on their concerns.
And just yes or no, do you believe in a Jewish state of Israel?
I believe Israel has the right to exist.
Not as a Jewish state?
No, as a state with equal rights.
Now, this was considered very controversial when he said it, and I think the results are in at this point that he didn't win in spite of his position there. He won in part because of it, including, if you listen to Andrew Cuomo's numbers, he won a majority of Jewish voters inside of New York City. And so what I'm curious for your view on is, while, I would love to debate you on your healthcare policy, I think we need Medicare for all, you think public option, your housing policy, et cetera. I'm just being really real with you. I don't really hear what you say if you are still supporting a genocide in Gaza. And that's, for me, I'm speaking for myself, but I know there are millions of other people who feel the same, that you have to at least cross this sort of moral threshold. And what it indicates to people, and I think part of why, Zoran won so many people in New York City, young people in particular, but Jewish New Yorkers, people across the board, is because it was a sign of, number one, okay, you're focused on New York City first and foremost.
Sure.
Number two, you're willing to take the heat on an issue that is really difficult for you, where you're being overtly smeared as an anti-Semite. And number three, there's no, entrenched interest that's going to control. You have a spine, you have principles, you're willing to stand up for something. And so, I'm curious for your reflections on that because of your voting record and where you've stood on this conflict.
Yeah, well, I mean, one of the proudest moments that I had in my last election, where I just won on the same ballot as Donald Trump, was that I won a majority of Jewish voters in Michigan. We have a large Jewish population. And I won Dearborn Heights, and Hamtramck, the 3 Muslim-dominated cities. Trump won 2 out of the 3. So I think the thing that I would push back on is the voters vote with their feet, right? We have a moment in an election where they get to decide. And there was no issue that was more difficult for me in this last, I would say 6 years, but certainly in this last election, other than this issue, because it's personal. I'm a Middle East analyst by training. And so what I tried to do, and why I think I managed to win both those communities, is call balls and strikes literally up to this week on what's going on.
So let's talk a little bit more about that.
But I think it's important, right? If you're going to push on me, then I think like there's one of us that's had an election and had to appeal to my voters and win. And so it doesn't surprise me at all that Mr. Mamdani won. Or actually, I didn't know his name. I didn't know much about him until he won. But because I think this issue is motivating people in a very visceral and personal way.
Yeah.
But it's not the only issue that my voters in Michigan care about.
Of course.
And the online world is extremely, extremely focused on this. But that doesn't always represent the majority. And I think if I can push back, like if we're out on the road every day in Michigan when I'm there. In some communities, that issue is the number one issue, 100%. And like, I mean, up till this morning, right? Like people texting my phone and talking about a plan, some of the things we're working on. But I go outside the Detroit area, it's not in the top 40.
But Senator, it's not just a political issue, it's also a moral issue is what I'm trying to get to. So let's talk about those, calling of balls and strikes, if you will. So first of all, do you accept that Israel has a policy of enforced famine and starvation in the Gaza Strip?
I think I literally put my name on a letter yesterday or last night that says like a policy of starvation, people are starting to starve. And in general, I mean, I served in places like Ramadi and Fallujah. I watched in 2004 and 2005 Al-Qaeda terrorists drag American citizens behind a vehicle until they died, right? Like horrible, and then string them up like a lynching.
Okay.
We still had a responsibility to get aid into Fallujah, despite the fact that we were fighting Al-Qaeda cells in Fallujah, and I have been clear about that.
So this is a crime against humanity. Forced starvation is a crime against humanity.
The occupying power has a responsibility to get aid into the war zone. Period.
So
by the law of war.
So in addition, do you accept that the Israeli plan, as reported by Haaretz, as discussed openly by ministers like Ben-Gvir and Smotrich, as backed by the President of the United States, is forced ethnic cleansing?
I think we have, as recently as yesterday, the Prime Minister of Israel talking about forced migration into certain areas and then potentially out of the country. That is not legal. That is not on any international standard since World War II. And I've been clear about that. So I would ask for a little bit of an open mind.
Well, what I would ask is, listen, I'm a YouTuber. I have my words, that's all I have.
Yeah.
But you're a United States Senator. Like you're not the president, but you have power. So what are you going to do? Because so far what we've seen, I mean, you've voted for some of the aid that's been used to massacre children and innocents. You have backed Israel, as far as I can tell, from your voting record at almost every turn. You voted for a definition of anti-Semitism that would, codify anti-Zionism as anti-Semitism. You voted as a member of the House to sanction the ICC for indicting Benjamin Netanyahu, who you just admitted is a war criminal, by your own words. So are you going to join Senator Angus King, Senator Bernie Sanders in saying no more aid to this country that is committing war crimes against innocent civilians?
I think the first thing...
That was a really good question. And she's doing like a really good job at avoiding it. Like she, instead of just answering the question, she like made an analogy to Iraq, which is, I mean, I get the analogy, but it's not really the same thing at all. And it's just a way to, because she never circled back. She never like answered the question. She just said, yeah, they're being forced to move and sometimes out of the country, which is a war crime. So yes, your answer would be yes, they are doing ethnic cleansing, right? My first question would have been, how much money did you take from AIPAC?
I think that's the question that everybody should be worrying about.
That's the first question you ask, and it's not even like it's not even an insult. It's just like, okay, if you're like an honest senator, how much money did you take from AIPAC? You don't have to give me like the exact amount. Give me a ballpark. Did you take over $1 million, under $1 million? Did you take over 500,000? Because then I know how tied you are to them. If they gave you a $50,000 donation, okay, cool. Maybe they were just trying to like say, hey, keep us in mind, right? But if they gave you $2 million, okay, now I see like you might be a little bit more tied in with them, right? I don't know. What's the vibe you're getting from him?
I think she wants. She obviously has the same feelings that everybody else has, that it is what they're doing in Israel or in Gaza, what Israel's doing to Gaza is disheartening and very illegal and very, very evil, I think. But I just think she's either not allowed to express her full opinion due to maybe some financial backing, or the fact that she doesn't want this to be clipped up or put in front of her at one point when she's running for office at some point. I think that's ultimately what she's trying to do. She's trying to cover her tracks. Because you can see like kind of the grimace on her face. She really doesn't want to keep answering these type of questions, even though now like there was a little bit of a pushback. Because she is getting tired of being on this subject. And I think what she's trying to do is just trying to cover her ass, while at the same time not necessarily staking a claim for one for whatever reason. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how this ends.
If you're asking about what to do with power, and I would offer that right now Democrats own nothing in Washington. So
don't play powerless with me. You're a United States senator. There are things you can do.
In terms of who runs our foreign policy, I just think it's interesting, right, that there was a ton of protests when Democrats were in charge.
There was a protest in Manhattan yesterday.
Okay. I think it's fair to say, just to be honest, that back and forth, like the number of protests that go on now versus before.
Well, they were part of your political coalition.
Well, not to
right?
mention, Senator Slotkin,
that's fair.
Obviously, I'm here.
Yeah.
I was very upset over the Biden administration policy. And as you can tell, I'm very upset over the Trump administration policy.
Yeah.
So let's deal not in strawman, but me and
but
here
in
and now.
terms of the tools that I have, the tools that we have in general, to me, the most important thing is a pressurized campaign to get aid into people who are starving. That to me is the number one, because that's the one is urgent and today. And that.
But will you cut off aid to Israel so long as they're committing crimes against humanity?
There is a difference between a weapon to protect a country from incoming missiles versus other type. Offensive and defensive weapons are different.
So would you support offensive weapons ban? Like, would you stop any offensive aid to Israel?
That certainly, to me, would be a place to look. But I'm not going to cut off a blanket next sale on a defensive weapon that comes through. No.
I also reject that because, for example, if Senator Slotkin, if you were asked to support defensive weapons for Iran, defensive weapons for Russia, you wouldn't back that.
No, but Iran, but
they're defensive. They're just protecting civilians, right? So how is it different?
But because Israel's being shot at.
So is Russia.
So is Iran.
Yeah.
So is Russia.
Ukraine's shooting at Russia right now.
I'm sorry. This is the difference between allies, partners, and adversaries.
Why is it an ally then? What are they doing right now that which makes it an ally?
I think allied relationships, just like Lithuania right now, like an allied relationship or a partner relationship is a long-standing relationship of information sharing and diplomacy. And that is, to me, it's not a like every day we decide Lithuania is our ally or not. We're allied or not. And sometimes we have big breaks with allies, right? Sometimes we have difficult moments with allies. Sometimes it goes the wrong way with allies. But an allied relationship is a long-term relationship.
It's hard for me to understand why we should ally. Like, I'm sure you believe in, like, or claim to believe in liberal human rights. Why would we ally with a nation that is committing a genocide and live streaming it?
Can I ask literally, like this, I think about this from the mirror image way, because I do not support the things that Donald Trump is doing, right? But I'm an American. So do I want other countries to look at America and be like, we can't stand Donald Trump, so we're going to end any longstanding relationship we have with the American people. We're going to cut off any support we give them on information sharing or intelligence sharing. Like, we are not just our elected leaders. And I think that's the thing that's been lost in the conversation.
So B'Tselem and another Israeli human rights organization joined the Global Consensus, Amnesty International, some 800 scholars. There was a piece from an Israeli scholar in the New York Times in saying this is a genocide. Do you accept, even Marjorie Taylor Greene yesterday came out and said it's a genocide. Do you accept that? And if you do, I mean, what responsibility does a United States senator have for, this is a nation that, you know, we send every year billions of dollars to aid that you have, you know, voted for and supported. Like, what responsibility does a United States senator have to prevent genocide and to stop genocide that we see ongoing?
We have a responsibility up till today to ensure that food is getting in.
Is it
so
a
that
genocide?
People don't starve. I don't know that I'd use that term,
Why?
but it is violating the law of war.
Why don't you use the term though?
Because I think, you know, it's, to me, do I think it's ethnic cleansing, which is what I think of in genocide? I don't know if it meets that definition.
They're
Yeah, but
announcing
didn't you
it.
say it earlier that it was ethnic cleansing? You said that they wanted to force it. I mean, this is open from the Israeli government. Like, they're saying it. Their
And from
Minister
Trump,
of National
too.
Security. They come out and they're like, we don't need shells. We need shells, not food. And we need to encourage migration.
Look,
they're saying
you're not going to get me to
Yeah.
support what the Israeli government is saying right now. I think the point I was trying to make is it's not just about, like, we have relationships with nations over time, regardless of who their leaders are. We have really tough moments. We have easier moments. But that doesn't, so I'm not willing to say that, like, I hate everything ever.
Sure,
into
but so
the future.
even if you accept that they're committing a genocide, you still wouldn't cut off their aid?
I think that defensive aid and offensive aid are different things, and I think at this point,
So
what
if
they're
Nazi
doing
Germany,
every single day,
if Nazi Germany said we want defensive aid, I mean, it's just you have to see where they're all weapons that are being shipped. You know, in
they're
another
not using
context,
the weapons that they're using right now. I mean, to be honest, if you look at what's happening on the ground, the military part of this conflict is, for the most part, over. What they are doing,
Senator,
every single day is around aid, and they are hurting people
They have
around
slaughtered
the
over
delivery of
1,000
aid.
people who were starving people just trying to get aid.
That is
I
not
know you
high,
know this.
That's not high intensity bombs. That's not the weapons that that we were talking about 2 years ago. It's just not. I'm sorry. Every single day, the military reports that I read, they are traditional. Like, this is a military that has a bad strategy. It is not the bombs that we were seeing 2 years ago.
It's not a military that has a bad strategy. The strategy is forced starvation and ethnic cleansing. That's their strategy, and they're accomplishing it very effectively with the full backing of the United States government, including, sadly, Democrats.
Well,
and so a couple more questions that I know you have to run. You know, I'm curious why you condemned Rashida Tlaib for using the rally chant, you know, from the river to the sea, something she said for her evokes equal rights. And you have not condemned Randy Fine, who said that Gazans should, quote, starve away, who floated that the Gaza Strip should be nuked, who called Ilhan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and Soran as well, called them Muslim terrorists. Where is the concern over him?
I have no problem condemning Randy Fine, who I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know who that person is. I have no problem condemning someone who talks like that.
Senator, we have to ask your last question because your staff is telling us. Do you think AIPAC should register as a foreign lobby?
I don't know the answer to that. I think that I know plenty of people
What a sucker punch of a question.
who think they should. You know, I don't.
It's kind of a cop-out answer, don't you?
I mean, I literally, I just guess I'd have to look at the definition. I certainly have had my tough moments with that organization, and
so you stop accepting their funding.
You got to get your facts straight. I have not been endorsed by AIPAC. I have not. I'm sorry. Okay. I was the first Jew elected to the Senate that was not endorsed by any
that
Jewish
explains
group.
everything.
AIPAC, J Street.
You've been the recipient of their funds.
In 2018, when I first ran, people who were members, yes, but I've not been endorsed since then. And I just got to be honest. Like, I think that this is where facts really matter. I've had very, very difficult conversations with my colleagues in that organization and made a choice back in 2021. 2021. So that was the first time I was up for re-election. So I understand that there's a sort of again, cornered position, but to me, I call balls and strikes as someone who served in the Middle East.
I do. I have one more question I have to ask you. We do the show. I really do my best to try to uphold basic human rights, Palestinian humanity, oppose the killing of innocent civilians wherever that happens. And I have to tell you, I feel really guilty that I'm not doing enough. I think all the time about, I'm a mom, I think all the time about those moms who can't feed their babies. Those babies are starving to death. And I just want to know, you're a United States Senator, you did vote for some of the bombs that were dropped on refugee camps. When kids have been sniped in the head, tents firebombed, people set on fire. The entire Gaza Strip turned into rubble. And now we're seeing these emaciated bodies of babies starving to death every day. And you
know what you can do.
Does it eat you up? Does it eat you up? Do you think, what more could I do? Do you regret any of your votes? Do you regret
let me tell
any
you what
sort
I
of
was working on this
complicity?
morning. A group of Jewish rabbis and Muslim community leaders came together with a proposal that we are working on just getting, if we can't get other aid in, at least get baby formula and nutritional supplements for children in. Let that be kind of a green light, never has a problem. No one's trying to eat baby formula other than a baby, right? That is the proposal that I've been working on all night and this morning. So in terms of what we're trying to do, there's not a moment that goes by that this isn't something that I'm working on and something that my own community, not online, but my own community has practical things that they want to do. They're willing to raise the money. They're willing to buy the formula. They're willing to do whatever we need to do to get it shipped in. That's how I spend my time.
But you're not willing to cut off aid to Israel.
That to me is the most effective thing that I can do today.
This is a subtle question. Your staff is telling us you absolutely have to go. So we appreciate your time. Thank you very much for coming.
Senator.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, she's never coming back on. Ever.
It all makes sense though. Where I was thinking about what is she doing? Why is she covering her tracks, or why is she not fully stamping a point? She's Jewish, and maybe she hasn't taken money from AIPAC, but that is her. That's her ethnic background. I think she would probably feel conflicted if you are Jewish and you possibly have some ties to your country.
Unless you're Jon Stewart or Bernie Sanders.
Oh yeah.
So I still feel like that's a cop out,
I can understand, but I can understand. I see it makes sense now.
Yeah. What an uncomfortable interview, to be honest.
It is very uncomfortable. She will, like you said, she'll never be back on.
Ever. And they'll probably not get another senator on there because of that. I don't know. I feel like there's, I get it, but now you just ruin your chances to ever interview someone again who's a senator or a House representative, unless they're super progressive, right? And then you can agree everything. I just don't feel like that's how you I don't know. I feel like that's not how you interview people. I don't know. What do you think? Am I being too harsh on her, or on Saagar and Krystal?
No, I understand because I like you said, they don't get many people of that caliber to come onto their show, and you can see why. They go for the topics they do really want to talk about, and it's very decisive, and it's decisive way of questioning, and it can really back somebody into a corner when they don't necessarily agree with those views. And like you said, you're now just eliminating every person besides the very populist of politicians to come onto the show.
Yeah. No, for real. And dude, that last answer with me and the rabbis have been working on at least getting food in, at least getting baby food in. What the fuck? So only babies matter, but their parents and kids and can fucking die?
Oh yeah.
That makes no sense to me. At least get baby food in. So what? So they can keep shooting kids? She was just talking about solving real issues with Zoran, remember? She's we need to actually address the issues, not just try to quick fix them. Okay, well the solving the issue would be to not fund Israel anymore, to not send them any more military aid. That would be the solution. That way they don't continue to like, we as the people of America don't continue to fund this. I mean, and I get why Krystal is really like affected by this, because like she looks like she's very passionate about this, and I totally get it, because she's a journalist. She sees this stuff every day. She probably sees way more clips of Gaza. I mean, to be honest, like anytime, I used to be able to like watch that all the time, but now when I see it, like it actually does like really affect me, and so I totally see how that could break your heart, and then that's like a perfectly normal reaction. And I see why she's mad against a senator who has the power to vote against it and doesn't. I see why she's really mad at her, because it's like, yes, like your track record shows you've actually funded this, even against the will of your constituents, more than likely, because I'm sure all those people, and not saying that every Muslim cares about what's going on, but probably every like reasonable person who's both Muslim and Jewish doesn't want to see this genocide going on and has accepted it as a genocide. And the fact that she can't call it that, she can't call it genocide. She hinted that maybe it's ethnic cleansing, and that she's saying like at least we can get some baby formula. Like all of that is just cop-outs. And I see why that would piss them off. Because like someone who's genuine would say, like, yeah, if I had known the full extent of what was going on, I wouldn't have voted that way. Yes, we should get food in there and baby formula. People, like, they shouldn't be shooting the kids. She should address all those points, but she's trying to tiptoe around them, and I see why that pissed off Saagar and especially Krystal.
Towards the middle of the show, I was really kind of questioning what Saagar and Krystal were doing, but once they kind of got into, I think, the topic they really wanted to talk about, I think it kind of showed her true colors, and she was floundering. And you could see her staff was probably pulling the plug on it. Yeah, we gotta go. They're probably going to be dealing with that. If not, somebody's going to get fired.
Yeah, and then the APAC question. I mean, I believe her. She said she didn't get money from APAC except for like one small donation in 2018. I believe her.
That's good for her, especially for a Jewish woman.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean...
But, like you said, there's a bunch of cop-outs and a lot of straw man arguments to be had when she could have just really shot to us straight, hey, this is what I believe, this is what I think should happen.
Bro, let's thank the staffer who got Slotnik to do this.
Gone but never forgotten.
He's definitely fired.
He or she's gone.
Yeah. My parents were in a hot dog stand and I became a CIA agent. That's true. She really, like, I forgot she was a CIA agent. So that means she must know all sorts of crazy stuff.
Oh, really? I didn't know she was a CIA agent.
Yeah, she mentioned it briefly. And if she was a CIA agent, especially for, like, the Middle East, she's already seen the first time we went to go fuck up the Middle East for no reason, which was Iraq. And now she's seeing the second time we're doing it. And I don't know. There's something shady about her, more than likely.
Yeah, she kind of hinted at what she was doing in the Middle East, but I didn't know she was a CIA agent. She now gives me a little bit more of I'm an industry plant.
This is Connor right here. Krystal knocked the Israeli sonic rings out of this lady.
Interesting lady.
Okay, yeah, this one. I've never taken money from APEC. Yes, you have. Okay, maybe just once. That is what she said, though. She said, I've never taken money. Yeah. Okay, well, back in 2018, which was like, what, 8 years ago, 7 years ago? Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I thought it was a cool interview. Yeah, they're never getting another senator on there. At least not an establishment senator.
No.
Ever again.
She clearly didn't really know what she was walking into. She kind of, like, they gave her the spiel, and it probably sounded cool. Like, the concept of breaking points is actually very cool. But she didn't realize that Krystal and Saagar are bulldogs, and she came into the pin without knowing what was going on.
Yeah, no, I kind of wish. It's kind of good that happened, because it gave her like raw reaction. She definitely has never watched this show before, ever. She just took. She's probably just not chronically online, which is fine. She's probably busy. She's probably a senator. So she's probably never watched the show. She maybe saw a couple clips and she was like, oh, okay, that's cool. I'll do that. Dude, if that staffer can get her to go on the Young Turks, that'd be perfect.
Yes, please. Next destination, Young Turks.
I feel like she'd have a better experience with Cenk on there. Maybe not with Anna.
No.
But with Cenk, yeah. But yeah, thank you guys for watching our reaction. And we'll be back with another video sometime.
Yeah. Let us know what you guys think in the comments.